God found a man named Abraham, and he called Abraham from his home, and he said that he would give Abraham a land, and that he would make his name great, and that his seed, that his descendants would be like the sand of the sea. And he found Abraham a man who had faith. And from him, God rose up the Jewish people, the nation of Israel. And they were in Egypt for 400 years, and then God raised up Moses to save Israel from Egypt, and then he put them under the law. It's very important to understand this, that God put Israel under the law. Why did he put them under the law? Because they were sinners, and they needed the law to condemn them and to show that they are sinners and the things that they are doing are wrong. And the law was like a prison that held them captive until what? Until Jesus Christ came. When Jesus Christ came, he came to redeem them that were under the law, so that they could receive the adoption of sons. And as we read in Romans chapter 3, the Apostle Paul says, now we know that what things soever the law saith, it saith to them that are under the law, that every mouth may be stopped, and all the world may become guilty before God. Therefore by the deeds of the law there shall no flesh be justified in his sight. For by the law is the knowledge of sin. So God gave the law to condemn man and to show man that he is doing evil and that his actions are worthy of death. He gives me the law, and I read the law, and I see that I have broken the law, and that I deserve to be judged by the law. The law wasn't given to make me righteous, to make me good. It was given to show that I am not righteous. And it was given to show me that I'm a sinner who needs a Savior. I need someone to save me from the judgment. The penalty for sin is death. But I cannot even make that payment because I need to be a perfect sacrifice needs to be made for sin. But I am imperfect. That is why my judgment is not only death, but it is eternal death. It is death without end. It is eternal separation from God. And that is the penalty for sin. And everyone is condemned. The whole world lies in wickedness, and the whole world is guilty before God. In Romans chapter 2, the Apostle Paul said, for there is no respect of persons with God. He says that God doesn't respect one person more than another. He doesn't care if you're a Jew, and he doesn't care if you're a Gentile. He doesn't respect one person more than another. That's what he says. For as many as have sinned without the law shall also perish without the law. And as many as have sinned in the law shall be judged by the law. For not the hearers of the law are just before God, but the doers of the law shall be justified. It's very important to understand this verse, that even though the Gentiles did not have the law, that does not mean that they are not guilty. Those who do not have the law will perish without the law, and those that had the law, they will be judged by the law. So the Gentile who didn't have the law but still committed sin, he will be condemned. And the Jew who had the law but he didn't fulfill the law, and he will be judged by the law, and he will be condemned as well. For not the hearers of the law are just before God, but the doers of the law shall be justified. You are not just because you have the law. Just because you know what is right and wrong does not mean that you are just. You have to do what is right. You have to fulfill the law. And if you broke the law in any place, you have broken the whole law, and you are guilty before God. For not the hearers of the law are just before God, but the doers of the law shall be justified. For when the Gentiles which have not the law do by nature the things contained in the law, these having not the law are a law unto themselves, which show the work of the law written in their hearts, their conscience also bearing witness, and their thoughts demean while accusing or else excusing one another. It's very important to understand this fact that the Gentiles are just as guilty as the Jewish people are as well. Why? They didn't have the law, but they have a conscience. They have a conscience, and they have the law that is written upon their hearts. And everybody has sinned against their conscience, and everybody has sinned against what they know is right. Ask any person, and it shows that they have a morality, because they judge others. You shouldn't be doing that, or that's good that you're doing that. That shows that they have a law, that they believe in right and wrong. But we have all committed wrong, and we have all committed sin. And because we have all committed sin, we all deserve to die. We deserve to die for the sins that we have committed. In the day when God shall judge the secrets of men by Jesus Christ according to my gospel. So God has made a day that He is going to judge everybody. He's going to judge every single person that has ever lived. He's going to raise them from the dead. Every single person from Adam until now will be raised from the dead, and they will all stand before God, and they will be judged by Jesus Christ. And He's going to judge every single action that they did, and He's going to judge every single thought and every single secret of the heart. And He will judge them, and they will be condemned. And like we just read in Romans chapter 3, that every mouth may be stopped, that the whole world may become guilty before God. On that day, when they stand before God, they're not going to say anything, because they're going to see that they're guilty, that they have committed sin, and they're not going to be saying anything because they're already condemned. They're already condemned, and they're already judged, and they are already headed towards damnation.